And over here we have a gazebo that that is very that minimally impacts the environment and is also a nice places for people to go visit. And then Nolan,
This is our forest. We used shelter wood cutting. We cut down about 20% of the trees, those 20% being the worst looking ones, and we will repeatedly cut down those trees about every 10 years. We aim to have a small, slow, steady supply of wood to build new houses or replace existing rotting logs. This management practice will help keep trees in the area to help offset the CO2 emissions, especially by keeping the larger trees. The variety of trees in the area also helps because the unique houses are all different types of wood, as you've seen. We burn the compost the twig and leaves make into organic fertilizer for the farm. The logs are used to support the buildings and for other building projects as well.
and if you continue going along this pathway, you'll meet this house over here, which is nice, bright, and memorable blue. If you walk inside this house, you'll meet one of our people that use the electricity because they have a TV and a fridge and a music box, and music boxes use energy. Or they have a furnace to burn in the winter. If you come over here, we have a pink house. Very distinctive. Not one bit about this isn't pink, except the cake and the windows and the pillow. If you come over here, we have this house made out of 22 different types of wood and copper and even mud. And it still manages to look great and distinctive.
Right here, we have our grazing lands. These are the sheep's grazing lands, and the sheep will provide mutton and wool. The reason why there's two of them is we rotate which area of the mountain that the sheep graze on. Sheep are used to make blankets, clothes, and other cloth products, as well as using the mutton for culinary and to put in pet foods. The downsides to this are that shearing sheep takes a lot of time and effort, as well as food to keep the sheep growing. Due to the nature of growing wool, it can only be harvested once every long while, reducing constant profit. And over here, we have our second animals grazing lands, the horses. These horses are used for work as eating them is illegal in America and in Minecraft. Free range horses are given large areas of land to use, and there are only a few horses, so there won't be much erosion from their hooves. Horses are used for work by plowing fields, dragging carriages, and can be used recreationally as horseback racing or competitively and also in horseback racing in the same field. The downsides to having horses are that they are very high maintenance, especially if they're specifically bred for racing purposes, because you need to have a fast, well maintained horse. Also, in order to raise these horses in a proper environment to a bigger extent, you need a massive amount of land. Here we have our cropland. As you can see, we are growing both wheat and beetroot, and we are using intercropping and contour plowing. We plant the columns of wheat and beetroot to help reduce diseases and increase soil nutrients. And the contour plowing allows us to reduce the soil erosion when the water comes in.
We used mountaintop removal as our form of mining practice. We removed the dirt and then blew the rest of the mountaintop. It is mostly flat with some craters from the explosion, but once we have done, we will spread the dirt back over the top of the mountain and help succession take place to leave as little impact as possible. We mine for coal and transport it over to Cole's Coal. Cole's Coal, as earlier, provides electricity for the town and also sells coal for people to burn in their furnaces and stay warm during the winter. Even though we do burn coal, we help offset this with the use of large trees and protected areas. Protected areas like our national park. This national park overlaps with a national wilderness area, and everything within 11 miles is a managed resource protected area. Everything within 11 miles of the town. This land is available to anybody as long as they have proper permits, such as a hunting and fishing license. We only allow fishing and hunting during certain seasons in order to keep the wildlife vibrant. People are not allowed to chop trees, as we already have a large lumber yard in place, but people are always allowed to get permission. People are allowed to walk wherever they wish and camp as they please, as long as they leave as little trace as possible. The national park here overlaps with the national wilderness area and has scenic viewing areas such as this one, but is closed off to the public. There's a beaten path they're allowed to follow to the area, but otherwise the area is protected and off limits to protect the flourishing wildlife. There's pollinators and as well as aquatic wildlife. This area is to close up to the public, not only to protect the wildlife, but also to minimize erosion. This bridge you see right here in front of us is barely hanging on, and any further erosion could cause it to fall into the lake and destroy the aquatic wildlife. But the national park isn't one of the only things that make our town unique. When we started creating this town, we had the 5th smart growth strategy in mind: foster distinctive, attractive communities with the strong sense of place. We reused and reshaped old buildings abandoned by the previous community, each building in their own unique way, each one different from one another, and no 3 buildings share the same walls, roof, or interior. Keeping these old buildings help create a historical look and preserve the history of the area. We use many different types of wood. Both pastures have different fences, and one house even uses 10 different types of wood, as well as mud and copper in its creation. We even have, this is an abandoned house from before. If you even look inside, you can still see the cracks in the moss on it. You can even still see the cobwebs. A work in progress. We kept the old buildings from before to help keep that historical look. I think this is a very memorable tunnel. And every house has no fenced-in yards, which helps create a close-knit feel, even though the town is split by such a high elevation, split by a mountain. We also have this old building. We reused it. It used to be a church. Has become Jack's lumberjacking logging business. And the purpose of this is to help provide wood for people that want to build a fire or a house or a fence or a walkway. And as you go up these stairs from Jack's lumberjacking, you encounter Mason's brick house. Mason helps provide stone for the people to help build houses and walls. And as you head down this pathway, you'll reach Coal's Coal and Stone. This is where the coal is turned into power and where people can buy coal for their furnaces.
This has been our tour of Sustainaville. I'm Nolan.
And I'm Weaver. And we're signing
out.